Hello, everybody. I welcome everybody on board on the Executive Automats presentation today. We're going to give about, let's say, 15, maybe 30 seconds for everybody to jump in on the session. In the meantime, I'm going to start the screen sharing with our PPT for today. So let's just wait for a moment. If you may just confirm if you can hear and see us perfectly. So we'll be able to start.
Hi, Bart. Sorry for being late.
Hey, Raf, no worries.
So, guys, just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we are waiting now. So maybe first questions, which we'll address to you guys today. Are you seeing us and are you hearing us correctly? Just use the chat section to write the answers. Okay, cool. But okay, yeah, cool. So where are you from, guys? Also, you can use the chat sections here. And remember to click and subscribe our Executive Automats YouTube channel. This is very important for us to communicate with you guys and spread the news over the world. Cool. Germany. That's cool. UK. Cool. Okay, so I'm Rafał Nyszewski and I will be a moderator for today's webinar, how to create the test automation plan for Dynamics 365 FSCM updates. I'm glad that you have joined us today. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The chat is on, so we have already tested. It's working, so this is cool. So you can ask the questions during the webinar. Also, we are recording this session and we will send a link to this recording to the email address which you have registered with during the registration process. Okay, moving forward. You can meet us in person, so please be of that, in upcoming community events where we will present our products. First one is ERP and Beyond in Copenhagen in Denmark. And second one is, well, quite very important one and from the community perspective, Dynamic Community Summit in North America. So visit us on the stand 126. Remember the digits, 126. We will show there a lot of cool stuff. Okay, so today with me is Bartosz Piech, our well-experienced product line manager responsible for executive automats products. So moving forward to today's session agenda. Firstly, we'll show you how to build the correct test plan. Afterwards, we'll move to the point which will address how to easily create the test case from a business process. What is the best approach there? Then the live test automation showcase with usage of the executive automats. Next, we'll jump into the performance verification security layer of the test plan. Last but not least, the question and answer session, perform it live. So remember, use the chat section for addressing the questions. And now in the chat section, you will see the link when you can book yourself our own private demo session of Executive Automats. This link will take you to the calendar view where you can choose most convenient date and hours for your presentation. This is a very convenient way to address the questions during this demonstration session about the test automation, testing, regression testing topics, because we are there together usually with our representatives from the product department, from quality assurance, and also the sales department. So all the questions concerning our products can be addressed that. This is the real live demo session, so feel free to click on the link and register to your demonstration session, private demonstration session. Okay, Bart, I think the stage is yours. So
thank you so much. All right, so we're going to definitely start with the first point from the agenda, the testing and set up the plan. What is needed, what to start with. So as you may know, throughout the experience from the projects, from the different projects we lead as a testing team, from different collaborations with different test managers, including the one which you might see already, the test manager review and the videos we've got on the YouTube. We're trying to give as much as possible the knowledge about the testing and the strategy of it. And today, regarding the plan, we can outline a few important elements which are building you a nice starting point. The first thing, the first is the racing matrix, which is nothing else as the responsibilities that you are having in your project. Who is doing the data migration, infrastructure stuff, restarts, security access, the stakeholders, who will be informed, who will act. So all of these for the testing is essential, because we see that most of the problems and then the extensions, some delays is caused by the lack of communication in the project. So racing metrics will fix those all basic stuff. The infrastructure setup. It is good to have your test environment, UAT environment, to exactly know where you are deploying the newest version, where you are deploying the ISVs, where you are testing with security, or where you are testing with data anonymization. These aspects are also critical, and it is hard to combine them on one environment. The schedule input, and actually overall the schedule build, is one of the essentials. What do we mean by building a schedule or some kind of a timeline for the upgrades? If you think about the upgrade, you can outline a few aspects which are building your schedule. The regulatory, so new regulations coming from the government, or some financial, internal financial regulations from your overall corporate, from the industry, from the corporate, from the company. ISV deployments, so new versions of your ISV products that you've purchased, and of course the Microsoft updates. So these individual updates, they've got direct impact on the stability of the system, and they are a root cause for making a regression test or making a smoke test around a specific module or specific area. So if you're going to combine all these dates where you are addressing when happens what, you were able to combine tests in a some kind of a period. You know that before the first quarter ends, you're going to have regulatory internal regulations from your organization changes, and maybe even it will overlay with Microsoft update, and you've got three events to cover with tests. You run the test and you know that you don't need to do more tests around that, and these tests are going to be sufficient. So it is good to plan these events, those testings, along of the events which are the root cause for the testing. The test plan definition, and we're going to talk about that today, and also with our colleague tomorrow on the Executive Explorer session. The test plan definition is one of the very important elements, because this sets the area what you test. This sets what kind of aggregation level, what kind of grouping of your test cases you're defining. So your testing, they are agile, they are quick, and they are effective in case that you need to repeat your planning, repeat your testing along of some sprints in which you are developing your dynamics, when you are changing your dynamics. So it is good to plan it. It also builds you at the coverage of testing. So if you got your plan precisely set, you'll be able to tell what is your coverage over the test plan. Yeah? How many test cases you've created to cover your whole system, your whole business. Data migration anonymization, so it is good to define where it is needed and what tool you're going to use for that, so the data will be secured. One of the criticalities is that in the testing environments, you still got production data. They might be outdated, but they are very, very vulnerable. And we've seen a lot of events happening within the tests that people were searching for very valuable data, and a lot of data extortions that were happening on the test environments because they don't have so much of the security of the data. So it is good to have this in mind. And report definition. The last point, of course, we can define more of them, but we see that it is good to agree with everybody from the racing matrix. So on the first point, you define your stakeholders and the participants. You also define with them the report definition, what they're expecting from the reporting, to make sure that this is well defining the results of the testing, the current health situation, health check of the system. So everybody is happy. Yeah. Every sprint regression, every regression testing we run, we've got the report, everybody can see it, everybody can understand that at a glance. So that's important aspect to agree on the report type. Okay, let's move forward with another slide. I think it's still rough for your screen, so yeah, thank you so much. And the conversion of the business processes to test cases. If you're going to think about the testing, there are probably a lot of you which are thinking, what is actually test case, and what is the word process ends and it starts. And we've seen different approaches, how companies are creating the coverage, how they are creating the exact test cases for the whole dynamics. And we see one which is very effective, and we're trying to repeat that as much as possible. We can say this is one of the recommendations we can do, which is keep a very tight relation with subject matter experts or so-called process owners, so they can define for you the whole scope, what they do. You can simply go to the subject matter experts from each area of the system, ask them what are their daily responsibilities, what they do day by day, so they can extract their daily processes, they can extract their periodic processes, and then when they do that, you can actually match each process with one test case. This also can give you an idea if the process is actually a golden process, which exists in multiple entities around your system, around your organization. So it will save you a much of time to prevent recording the same process over and over for different entities. So if you're going to do that exercise, understand what people are doing, convert that to the list of the tasks, then the business even can record these test cases, and then you are sending these test cases, which are not yet ready for automation, but they are some kind of a shell. They are some kind of a not ready product. This can be sent to the QA engineer, to the test manager. We can apply Excel files, some variables, some extensions to this test case, so it will perform better, so it will be reusable. And at the end of the process, you've got a full coverage of your business, you've got assurance, and you've got reusability, so you can run multiple times the test cases to have continuous improvement, to have continuous benefit of having test automation. And actually, this is the principle and the overall idea about conversion of the test cases. And moving along, we're gonna jump into the executive automats. So this won't be a very deep dive session. As Rafael was inviting you, we would love to show much more on 60-minute session of executive automats. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just open up the application to show you exactly how it looks like, what kind of functionalities you've got as a quick walkthrough, because the executive automats consist a lot. It covers different industries, different regulations. We've got also a separate product which is dedicated for a regulatory industry called Automated Boost for GXP. And if you're going to think about executive automats, the overall application, it has this year a 10th anniversary from the day where we set the all requirements for testing in Dynamics 2009. The application you see, this is the results of our 10 years of research and very tight relation with customers to convert the market needs and to convert everything what is what different consultants or test managers needed to perform an effective testing in Dynamics. In 365, in finance and operations, we decided to become an independent platform to connect to Dynamics instead of being an extension which will extend the overall Dynamics. So this simplifies the whole relation. This simplifies it that you don't need to install anything on your Dynamics site. You simply connect to your Executive Automats instance in which you are defining all of your system definitions, which means all of your environments, UAT, dev, pretest, prod, in some cases, of course, only. You can define all of your test instances here in the system definitions, along with your accounts you're going to use for testing, for connecting to Dynamics. And this will mean that you can record or think about these scripts that we've got in here. The script is a database of all test cases that you created. They can be understood as recorded anywhere, and you can play back there also anywhere. So you can record on dev, you can run this on tests. You can record on pretest and play back there anywhere else as well. And this also applies for entities, because one process which is recorded for USMF can be executed on GBSI or any other entity which exists in the company. Plus, if you're going to do a little bit more walk through our user guide, you're going to see that you can apply Excel file to the application, and one process can jump in through tens of the entities doing the same process over and over with different parameters, different inputs. So if you're going to think about the script, these are just end-to-end business cases, the test cases that you've got defined. They've got, of course, aggregation. So the projects, this is the section when you are building your test plans. And in here, you're going to see that we are having different approaches. This might be an approach where you are saving your test cases around modules. There might be also a workstream element, so you can group your test case around different work streams. So it helps you to build your test plan or test suits in exact way how your organization works. So then your smoke tests you perform, they are very effective. They are quick, they are agile. So whenever you are creating test case, you are thinking, okay, this one will be from sales, so I'm going to record it for account receivable or for another procure to pay or sales to cash stream. Let me show you how to record a test case. I can go to the scripts and I can add a new script for our webinar today. So let's start with a very simple process of sales creation. I can take the standard environment and the virtual user, so I don't need to provide anything to the system. I can simply start to record. System is telling me that I can actually check my credentials for test suits. We've got very tight integration with the Azure DevOps. So this is also a benefit that you are able to create bugs directly from the test case which is failing. So you see that you've run 100 test cases and 8 of them they failed. You've reviewed the messages and you are simply clicking, all right, this convert to the bug and this one as well, which is helping you to build a quick stream and quick communication with developer or consultant. You can just take the actions and provide some fixes for those bugs. On the right-hand side, you see the list of actions which we are going to perform. And one of the key elements, key aspects we wanted to address was simply to build something easy for everybody. So everybody can record a business case. Everybody can record a test case. and the extension of those test cases with some advanced actions like verifications, this also be codeless. This is going to be very simple for non-technical user. So I can walk through my business case. There's going to be sales using the free text invoice, so direct invoice for a specific customer. Everything what you select, as you see here, account row, ACC, event 239, this is an element which can be easily replaced with any other value that you've got. So I recorded this for this specific customer. I can quickly click edit and change it to anything else. So in case that I've done some mistakes, I can easily replace that. I can easily save it to simply have my process in the exact way how we want it. On the right hand side, if you're going to do too many clicks, you can also quickly customize that. So in that case, I can simply match 3 more steps. I can remove them as well as these two. All right, and continuing the process, I can jump into the header in which we can perform one verification. On the right-hand side, there is a button called inspection. If I'm going to have verification, like I would like to see if the results of the transaction is positive, I can use that very quickly. And let's say I would like to verify the exchange rate. So I can click on the results. I can call it exchange rate. And I can verify that I'm expecting that this is going to be equal to 10. If it's going to be 10, then continue. Otherwise, simply set this as a warning and create. And I can match and catch as many as I'm wanting parameters or values for later verification. So this builds you a verification of the results. We want to see the positive testing, some like the happy path, which verifies the stability, verifies the possibility to perform the business process. On the other hand, we want to verify the actual results. So we want to see if the transaction at the end of the day, it has the exact VAT value, it has the exact income tax or the account, which was set in the configuration. So this is an important aspect, the conditional steps. And moving along, I can, of course, pause my process. I can switch back to the player. I can play it back to work with it to see if I haven't done something wrong in the process, or I would like to correct that. I can later on switch back to the recorder and once again continue the recording to record subsequent steps for my business process. So you can see that this is simply record and play. All advanced stuff is available for you. You don't need to do a lot. All of the functionalities that we've got can be understood by the user guide. Plus, we are also performing something called certification program, where you can learn all the features that you're seeing today on examples, on some kind of a user stories, how to build an exact test case, how to verify that. After certification, which takes about 8 hours, you are able to do practically everything that we design in the application. Of course, there are advanced stuff, more advanced levels, but for a basic line usage, for recording, playing back the test cases, and working with Excel files, advanced conditionals, it's going to be an essentials. And this is something we can recommend. And as you see, I play back the process. I'm able to switch back to the recorder and simply continue the recording. So I'm moving along my business context, and I can simply record very long processes, which can be 600, 700, over 1,000 steps, which are the core of the business. And sometimes we say these are golden processes. And a golden process can be understood as the longest possible path, the business path that you can do in your company. In example, some requests for quotation, quotation to sales creation, sales creation to production, and then master planning, production of the ready product, sell, and then credit notes, and then also color correction letters or any other feature which can be subsequent, which can bring you a very long business stream, which you would like to verify from the beginning to the end. And this is some kind of a longest path which your organization can perform. And we see a lot of companies picking up this idea, and they are building this longest possible process, and they are executing this on daily basis, just to verify if the baseline of the organization, everything is doable. Yeah, so if you're going to move along the process, I can click view and open up the document. This copy probably will be not available as we haven't posted it, but we'll see what system will show us. If it's going to be a warning message or error message, we will be able to catch that as well. So all the information which are happening, which are seeing on the from the dynamics, can be then converted to debug quickly, or if we're going to catch an error message or warning message, we are able to make a sub-path, sub-process for your test case. So the process goes, if this is situation A, then go left. If it is situation B, go right. So these elements can be embedded in our test cases, so the test case can be very intelligent. And as we see here, we've got the PDF. And of course, one of the features in here is that you can convert your test case into the documentation. So the documentation will have screenshots from this document as well. If I'm going to close down this, I'm going to see here a little bit more information about the execution. In the history, you are able to see all statuses along with the last status of the execution. And of course, if I'm going to play back this, I'm able to play it back. I'm able to play it back in background, so I don't see the execution, but I'm able to generate the documentation itself, or actually also a video. Let's keep it simple right now for the documentation. And running this, patching this in the background is one of the essential elements from the test automation perspective, because this opens doors for planning, for the scheduler functionality. And we treat scheduler as building your regression testing, as building your smoke testing around that plan about the schedule that we discussed before. So let's say we're going to run our quota testing, which is going to cover the update of dynamics, which is going to cover a little bit more stuff. And what we're going to do, we're going to use Gantt. In a quota, I can go to the Gantt section and edit our Gantt and tell the system, all right, now this is the database of all test cases. And based on our aggregation, so if we're going to do our job perfectly by identifying the test cases, recording them and grouping them, then we're going to say, I'm going to take the accounts payable and receivables processes. So I want to test everything from that area. I can add OK. And we've got some test cases. I can add them all into the Gantt. In the meantime, system tells us, oh, we've got a success. All is good with our test that we just executed. We are adding all test cases into the list. And then we can perform some more advanced setting up. So if we need to set some dependencies between one test case and another one, I'm able to tell, all right, please start this test case, the workflow testing, after the purchase requisition was actually created and started. Then finally go with workflow. Everybody knows we have to have this workflow engine to be working. Only then we can continue with approval. So I can make that logical collection. I can make that logical sequence, which can build the proper testing. The test cases can be grouped. The test cases can be run in singular session, so one by one in sequence, or the test cases can be run in parallel. So I can run 10 or 20 or more test cases in the same moment, which is giving you the chance to decrease the delivery time. If you've got enormous number of test cases and you have got just tight deadline, you can speed up by multiplying sessions. But you have to be careful because one of the capabilities is performing the performance tests, and for low tier level, like a tier 5 environment, just a dev box. Sorry, tier 1 environment as a dev box. You will end up with 30 sessions, which can kill the whole service. So if you're going to exceed the number of tests in parallel on the very low spec environment, you'll be able to simply have everything with error message. Everything will fall apart because of the load you're going to create. If you're going to think about tier 5 environment or tier 4, which can be questionable, but mostly tier 5, we're going to be able to do some performance testing with a ratio of 600 or more sessions in parallel, which can verify your blueprints as value. Yeah, maybe not to do too more details about performance testing. We can try to address that on our Q&A if you're going to be interested. These elements can be very effective. So you can build your schedule, you can activate that on the precise moment. So Friday evening, we run all test cases. Monday morning, we are able to review these results. And regarding the results and the review, we've just created a few endpoints on Power BI. So this can be very helpful because you are able to see how it works. You are able to see what is the health check, stability of your test cases. And we've got 63 test cases which are executed on a weekly basis, and we see how many of them failed. There are 2 or 3 error messages, or even 6 in some moments. So we are able to review what exactly happened there, and then provide some corrections. So Power BI can be very helpful to have a very quick view on the stability. So test manager or another C-level executive can just take a look. Everything is good. We are able to say that we are able to move forward with the upgrade, or we can actually block this to prevent population of some bugs on the production. Let's come back here with documentation. This is a functionality which gives you the idea about documents which are created from the test cases. So if you're going to take a look in here, you are able to see different videos or documents, so the Word files or PDFs, which are created out of the test cases. If I'm going to download the documentation, you will see exactly this is fully editable Word file. Everything is converted to the steps which system went through. And I can take a look in here. We have navigation to the main module. And then one by one, system goes through the steps, of course, outlining actions which were performed. So if I'm going to click OK, system will match the exact button which we clicked. So this can be, of course, extended by your personalized comment and can be stored as the verification of the results. This can be stored as different proofs that you've done the test on that day. And so on. Different industries, they've got different needs around that. So from the perspective of the basics, I would love to show you one more thing. Of course, these test cases that we are working on, they've got high reusability aspect. What does it mean exactly? This means that when you are creating your test case, you can think about if something like this already exists, because if I want to create sales, once again, I can tell the system, all right, but definitely there is something as sales test case. So I can not record, but I can embed in here already created process, which will work as scenario. So I can take a few of these, and we're going to have a scenario which can be executed in a chain, so they can exchange data. So results, the variables from the first script can be transferred to the second one, and then to the third, and then to the verification. So these elements can build you very nice reusability. It is always a good practice to verify first if something exists and then extend that. So indeed, there's a lot to show you today, including the DevOps integration, including some Excel files, advanced functionalities around that. We've got also a very deep integration of the pipelines, of Azure DevOps, so we can include testing into the pipelines. As you see in here, we just open up an issue from the bug which happened in Executive Automats. I can apply this to my colleague Rafał, who can just start working on fixing it. All these you can learn on the certification, which we highly recommend. This and much more, of course, you can learn on the demo, which you can sign in for on the link which was sent by our team. And we highly encourage you to do that. I'll jump back to our StreamYard.
Yeah, I think, we'll just go here again to the presentation. Thank you, Bart. It was amazing. So guys, a little bit more about the demo of the Executive Automats. This is pretty much it. We can focus on all of those activities. We will show you all of the features, and we will focus on your actual particular situation if you will address that. So this 60 minutes of demo will respond to all your needs. Okay, so now the test plan.
Indeed, we are all dog lovers in our company, including Executive Explorer. Of course, test plan, performance verification, security layer. If you're going to these are one of the findings and the evolution of our products. We are always starting from the business processes, okay? Like test cases. Out of that, we've got test automation. So we are building test automation for regression testing, for smoke testing, for also performance tests. But also the security verification brings us to one of the industry problems, that the testing very often is done on administrator roles, which means that the verification is not adequate. We should actually test our security with appropriate set of the roles, which are giving us the exact results. So on some roles, process might be not possible to be delivered. Plus the standard roles, they're also evolving because Microsoft is also adding new privileges, new entry points into the role, which can create another danger for you, that your user will be not able to perform their daily activities because of the security element. And we wanted also to simplify the security element, which actually is quite complicated in ERP, in Dynamics as well. Out of your business process that you create for testing, you can extract the security context. So you can tell, all right, I've got a sales creation process ready, and I can extract what kind of entry points, what kind of security access I need to perform an activity. So I'm able to convert every business process to certain duty and then duty to role. That is another benefit of that you've performed this review with your business users, with your subject matter experts, what they do, and you were able to build for them the exact precise roles. So everybody in the company, they've got precise access to only those areas that they need. And lastly, performance tests. If you're going to perform that activity of mapping test cases to the business, you are able to use them for multiplying. Let's say you would like to run 50 or 100 test cases, so 100 sessions of the same business process at the same moment, which is bringing you the typical load of the sales department in the midday and 1 p.m. Day by day. So you can see how system performs to adjust the hardware or to adjust anything else which can be a bottleneck. So you've got that core, which is the business process, and out of that you are actually matching 3 different problems or dangers that you've got in your ERP, in your day-by-day Dynamics life, we can say. Yeah, so that's from the perspective of the business process. There is a lot of from the reusability and different added or byproducts you can get out of that very strict and very effective approach of test cases definition based on your business. Yeah, I think that's the best moment to jump in, probably to Q&A, Raf.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that everyone have noticed this link which we have shared, because the demo will give you this chance to those things which was addressed by Bart right now. We'll be able to address those things during the demonstrations for you guys. So as I said before, this link which we were shared in the chat section will take you to the calendar view where you can choose most convenient date and hours for your presentation. And okay, yes, we should go right now to the Q&A session, guys. So, I will check the comments right now. Okay, we have like 2 questions. One is quite huge. I will just show right now on the screen. Have you noticed some significant issues on any of D365 FSCM instances after the updates? Sometimes it's hard to justify the need for the testing or show the exact problem we are trying to prevent to happen. Well, okay, very, very cool question. Bart?
Okay. Yeah. So from the perspective of some bad news or bad stories we've seen, what we are fighting with, actually, we can say. We've seen that after the update from Microsoft, one of the problems that happened was caused by the new interface, which was delivered in update 40. A lot of ISV modules, they failed. This is so-called a new grid control. This was developed in update 40, I think, and 45 it went to the sort of mainstream of Dynamics updates. And this actually caused a lot of problems for different organizations with the stability, because the ISV modules, they failed, the test cases in RSAT, they failed, in executive automats. We had a little bit struggle with our team. We created a migration pack for our test cases, so our clients were secured. But overall, this showed a very nice principle that something very basic which Microsoft changed, it had significant impact on the stability of entire environment of entire Dynamics. So you had to adjust with everything, and not all of the ISVs were ready for that. So we can say this was one of the one of the ISVs major area. Another one which we saw, it was in previous, I think, update 36 or some kind of this one. We've seen some issues with AIS, with connections to the exchange rates. I think this was one of the probably ISVs, but we've seen a situation where company was left without possibility to download exchange rates. They haven't checked that because they were having no test cases around the loading of the exchange rates. So at the end of the day, they actually realized that all transactions they've done, they were the exchange rates were outdated by a few days after the new deployment of the new version. So this was a quite unlucky situation with a lot of correction letters and then rebooking amounts. And I think this was one of the nicest things which I've got in mind. That's a very nice question. I think we can try to write down a few more results or a few more case studies that we found out of our customers, because a lot happens when you are reconfiguring, and the reconfiguration has much broader impact. so you are not able to see exactly where it can lead. Yeah, that's a very nice question.
Yeah, thank you for that, Bart. That's why we are addressing this and always saying to our client and our customers that we should test everything before it will, be used in the business in very common, I would say, amount of the time and amount of the sequences which we are using in this actual business process. So the executive automats is the tool which will help you and give this ability to prevent you from such situations. Yeah. So we have also another question. What is the average time for test plan creation with an automation approach?
What is the average time for this?
It really depends, but average, well.
Yeah, for the test plan, if you think about,
I said test them with some test cases, probably. Yeah, I think.
It depends definitely on organization, how big it is and how complicated it is. The kickoff meetings for test managers, we see they take about 7 days, 7 man days. Sometimes it is up to 10 man days, where they are sort of mapping the business and trying to extract information from the subject matter experts. So this period can be it is difficult to estimate, but I would say from 3 days to the 10 days, this might be, we can say, a spine, the basic shell, how it's gonna look like, the test plan, and then of course the creation of these test cases. So the extraction or conversion can take quite a bit of time, a few weeks, even up to a few months if you're talking about multi-entity, multi-company, multinationality company.
Thank you, Bart. Yeah, this is very much maybe I hope in accounting that we have responded to this question correctly, but really it depends on the company size and everything, and even the testing methodology, if there is already implemented in the organization, which will ask for such a question, obviously. Okay, cool. I don't see any more questions, Bart. So again, I would just remind you about this demo session. Just feel free to click on the link which you have seen in the comments. And Bart, I think, thank you for the session, and hopefully, I think we will be able to see you guys in the next webinar, which is tomorrow. Yeah, am I right?
Yes, tomorrow we've got Executive Explorer. On Thursday we've got security configuration tool. Feel invited as well.
Yeah.
On Monday we are in Denmark on Copenhagen ERP Beyond sessions, and on the 9th, I think, October, we are in AXCG North America. So it's going to be a huge pleasure to meet you all, guys. And this is going to be the third. I mean, the first community event after COVID.
After COVID, exactly. Cool. Thank you, Bart, again. Thank you, guys, for joining us today. It was a pleasure. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good one. Cheers.